Don't worry about him, I worry about my man. And I know that Conor Benn can win world titles in divisions below 160. He can sell out any arena in the country. He's one of the biggest, not just boxing stars in Britain, sports stars in Britain now.
But Conor's naturally fiery. Conor has that bit between his teeth. You know, he's his dad's son. His dad was as fiery as they come, and so was Conor. I think if Chris Eubank Jr. was placid and respectful, I think Conor would still be fiery.
These rematches with these types of intense fights taking place, like Conor and Eubank,
I'm trying to pull him.
a rematch right away will probably end their career. You know, it's that intense.
Do you see that fight happening? And do you think Ben won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank.
Boxing experts believe Conor Benn could dominate the rematch with Chris Eubank Jr., and their logic is strong. Ben's youth and hunger give him an advantage Eubank no longer has. He already rocked Eubank in their first fight with heavy punches that clearly hurt him. Now, Benn returns with better conditioning and a mindset to finish the job. He isn't only chasing payback.
Terms are already agreed for the rematch with to move forward. And it's the same as the first contract in that respect. So
The rematch between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. is set for Saturday, November 15, 2025, at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. This comes after Eubank Jr. won their April fight by unanimous.
Magazine breaking. Ring Magazine has learned Sella completed the deal for the highly anticipated Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch on November 15th in Tottenham Stadium. The event will be presented as The Ring, Unfinished Business. Not going to lie, they kind of did finish the business the first time around. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr. won, but it was a great fight. It was probably fight of the year or one of the fights of the year. What we've seen this year in 2025. But that being said, it was interesting, and there was always supposed to be a rematch clause, so we're running it back. Also, the event will be promoted by Sella and sponsored by DAZN and the Ring Magazine. Here is the article. First it was off, then on, then off again. Now the rematch between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn is officially back on. The Ring has learned the deal to see them run it back from their April 26th showdown was completed through Sella on Tuesday. They will have approximately 3 months to prepare for their sequel.
Eubank Jr. has hired coach Brian McIntyre, known for guiding Terence Crawford, to polish his strategy and turn a solid win into a dominant one. McIntyre says Eubank will be sharper this time, and believes the new game plan and killer instinct mindset will give him an edge. He said Eubank already figured Benn out in the first fight, and better preparation will make this one easier. McIntyre praised Eubank's hard work and training and says this camp is more focused than ever. Meanwhile, Benn is driven by revenge and wants to change the story, proving he is an elite fighter and not someone who fell short.
Eubank Jr., you're with him for the rematch against Liam Smith. How did it come about, you coming back into camp with him for this one?
Well, while we was finishing up with Crawford, Chris's guys, they hit me up maybe a month out and asked me would I be, interested. I told them, of course, right away, because I felt like that me and Chris got a good repertoire together. We got a good relationship, and we come out with good results whenever we hook up.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, actually. What made you jump straight back into it? I asked Chris almost the same question about you, what it was that he wanted to work with you for. What is it about Chris that you particularly enjoy training or working with?
Well, one thing about Chris when it comes to boxing is he's definitely got dog in him. Even though he maybe got 2 or 3 losses, he fights to the nail. He fights to the end, tooth and nail. It's not hard to get him to do anything because it's always yes coach, yes coach, yes coach. Go in there and get in the day in the gym is wonderful because you ain't got to yell at him or nothing. We just go through what we need to go through, and we get the job done.
How much would you say your relationship with him has evolved from kind of working with him first time to now working with him for a second time?
I think it's beautiful now. He's talking a little bit more in camp, so that just makes it seem like he's a little.
British middleweight contender Hamza Shiraz says he is confident Conor Benn can beat Chris Eubank Jr. in the rematch. Shiraz, who also wants to fight Eubank in the future, thinks Benn
Won't get the better of Eubank?
I think Conor Benn beats Eubank, but I kind of need Eubank to win. Do you know what I mean? For myself, from a selfish perspective, I need him to win.
Did you want to fight him?
Yeah, exactly.
Would it be the first defence if you win that, or when you win that WBC title? Is that someone that you would choose?
100%, 100%. As long as obviously everyone's okay with it, it'd be that. I mean, why not? It'd be the biggest fight for me next in boxing, and I haven't got long left in the 160-pound division, so it's not me going on about taking certain defences.
Dave Caldwell discussed the rematch on TalkSport, giving a detailed look at both fighters. He agreed that Eubank Jr. should have the advantage because he is naturally bigger, but he also mentioned real concerns that could help Ben. Caldwell said Ben's fast pace and clean punches are dangerous, especially if Eubank struggles with the weight cut again. While he didn't make a final prediction, he said Ben has a serious chance if Eubank slows down later in the fight. Caldwell ended by saying that if Eubank is not at his best, Ben could take over, making this a very unpredictable matchup.
I think the bigger man should win, but the bigger man's he's not great himself. You know, when we talk about a good big and beats a good little, listen, you've got to remember, Eubank's not great. And in his last fight, I thought he looked old. It's the first time I've looked at him and I thought...
in Riyadh, I agree with you. He got
Gareth, I thought he looked old.
Yeah.
I thought he looked old.
Yeah.
And if age is catching up on you, and listen, don't forget, his father has always banged on about him sparring heavyweights. When they were working together, it was always talking about he spars heavyweights, he stands there as well. That shortens your lifespan in boxing. That has an effect. And if time has now come onto it, he's 35 years old, he's struggling to make the weight, time comes onto you, you've got again, Ben might not be the biggest.
Eddie Hearn says Conor Benn is at a big disadvantage in this fight because he must move up to weight divisions. This huge jump could affect his performance in a major way. Fighters who gain weight often struggle with the power, strength, and endurance of bigger opponents. Ben will be facing Eubank Jr., who is comfortable at this weight, making the fight much tougher. Many boxing experts think the matchup is uneven because of the big size difference. They worry Ben may not handle the physical pressure at super middleweight. Since size often decides fights, many believe this gives Eubank Jr. the clear advantage.
Went up to fight Gennady Golovkin at middleweight. Guess what? There was a hydration clause with the IBF, and Gennady Golovkin makes it absolutely easily, as will Chris Eubank. But it's just, that's our job. And no need to moan about it. If you didn't want to do it, you didn't have to have it in there. But they know it's not a big deal. But who is at the bigger disadvantage? Conor Benn, coming up 2 divisions. And Chris Eubank just weighs in what he always weighs in. That whole, they're stripping him down to 160. It's his fucking weight. I don't understand. Stop listening to Simon Jordan.
It's a mismatch. It's an entertaining matchup.
Why is it a mismatch?
Because of ability, because of weight classes. Chris Jr. is a middleweight and a super middleweight. He's naturally a super middleweight. So, he's having to starve himself to come down and, with all the catch weights and all of this stuff, it's a mismatch.
Okay.
He is operated at world level. He's been in with the likes of George Groves and, the list goes on. It's a mismatch.
Spencer Fearon, a respected analyst, talks about the long history between the Eubank and Benn families. He says the rivalry, which started with their father's famous fights, adds extra drama to this rematch. Fearon believes this family storyline is a big part of why fans are so interested. It not only creates excitement, but also puts pressure on both fighters to protect their family legacy.
And the hatred that he has, and I know when you really dislike someone, it brings something out of you. But I'm looking forward to that fight for the simple fact is that event within itself is fantastic because it's crossed over. Lots of people are talking about it. Everywhere you go, people are talking about it. There is nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely excellent. And plus, I can remember when the two fathers first fought, and the second time is when they fought in October of of '93. But when the fathers first fought, when they first went at it, I remember that fight clearly in my head. It was a Sunday night. It was at November 18th, 1990, and it was like it seemed like the world stopped to watch that fight. And this has drawn something from it because everybody's talking about it. And fair play to both men. They're selling the fight really well, which is genuine. It's not orchestrated. Oh, you're going to do this. No, it's proper. So I'm looking forward to it.
Carl Froch shared his views on Conor Benn, saying Benn is a good young man, but has not fought top-level boxers yet. Froch believes Benn is still unproven at the highest level and has not shown the skills needed to dominate elite opponents. He also pointed out that Benn has not fought for 3 years.
I mean, this is a guy that's not fought in Britain for 3 years. I think his last fight was in April 2022. And every time he talks, every time he gets in Chris Eubank's face over the last couple of days, I do feel for him a little bit. Can I first just say that Conor Benn, I know him and I've met him a few times, and he's such a nice kid, such a lovely, lovely young man. And when I say that, I mean, he's lovely, and he's obviously a fighter, and he wants to get in there and he wants to do some damage and hurt his opponent and get the knockout, and that's how he fights, and he's exciting when he fights. But he's not fucking fought anybody. And he's talking like a roadman killer. He's not been busy, he's fought no one. And can you answer me a question as well? What's happening with this drug testing issue? Is he banned? Is he serving a ban? Is there any official news? Because as far as I know, he's still not got a British Boxing Board of Control licence to fight. He still can't box. So does anybody know? Let me know in the comments. Is Conor Benn serving a ban, and it's a silent ban? They're not telling us about it. I'm not sure what the genuine beef is with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. I know they've got the history, like I mentioned, the father's name. Chris Eubank seems quite chilled and quite happy and smiley, but every time Conor Benn comes into close proximity with Chris Eubank Jr, he turns into a roadman killer, doesn't he? He's got serious beef. Every time he gets in his face, he puts it on him. Says he don't like him, he even hates him. He wants to smash his head in. I'm like, is this just selling the fight, or is this genuine needle? And if it is genuine needle, what's it for? Is it why you got so much beef? Is it just because of the family name? Conor Benn could do with winning this because he's 28 years old, and moving forward, he's got a potential bright future ahead of him. Chris Eubank Jr wins this fight. I'm not sure what doors it opens for him or where it takes him at 35 years old, because in my opinion, at this age of your boxing career, then you've only got...
Froch also said this fight is not very exciting to him. He noted that Eubank Jr only fights once a year, and Benn has not done enough to prove himself at this weight. Froch thinks the big gap in their natural size makes this more of a mismatch than a competitive fight. Fans might not get the action they expect because the size difference is too obvious.
Junior Conor Benn fight does absolutely nothing for me.
Really?
Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr lost to George Groves, he lost to Billy Joe Saunders, he doesn't box, he boxes once a year. He looked terrible in his last fight. He was slow with his jab, he was leaving his chin in the air, his balance looks like it's gone. He's 36 years old, talking about fighting Canelo Alvarez and taking on all these top... He was talking about Triple G for a while, who's now gone 40 and retired. Yeah. Conor Benn? What's Conor Benn done?
Not a lot, to be fair.
He beat Chris Algieri and failed, he's failed that drugs test. We're not seeing him do anything.
Yeah,
he's fought nobody, he's not developed. He's not developed, he's done nothing. So for Conor Benn to jump in there with Chris Eubank Jr, the only reason that fight would be close is because they're probably going to drain Eubank down to 160, a middleweight. And then, but Conor Benn's having to come up from 147. Yeah. So the gap there it's not an exciting fight. He don't prove anything.
Conor Benn is pushing hard in training for his rematch with Chris Eubank Jr. He moved his training camp back to Essex and works out in a building next to his home, so he can stay focused but still see his kids. Benn is also paying attention to his mental strength. He is using Wim Hof breathing and emotional control techniques to stay calm.
36 minutes with it straight, no breaks, back and forth.
Felt like my soul left my body and come back. That's like you hit me, I fell asleep, you want me back up.
You know, it's mentally, you gotta just... Sometimes you switch off, sometimes you take a dip, bring yourself back, keep going.
Yeah, but you can't afford to switch off. Do you know what I mean?
That's why we're getting mentally prepared. It's hard, like you said, it's harder in here than it is in the ring.
But then, Thursday, 12 steps, killer. By the end of the week, you just like...
I got them tomorrow.
You were like dreaming, weren't you?
I skipped the sprints.
You were still dreaming. He was dreaming about me running.
I skipped the sprints, but I got them tomorrow.
Yeah.
Heartbreaker. Chris, he's hitting hard. He hit me today, I nearly went to sleep. Don't be getting, listen, he's gonna...
I knew it. I thought I seen something.
Nah, listen, honestly,
getting interested in it this time.
No, look, I think it's
I think you will next week.
Well, you can think again then. I mean, the terminology unfinished business is the only thing that's unfinished about it. They didn't manage to rinse enough money out of people the first time round. Unfinished what? Fight was won. What we got returned for? What's the return for?
But look, you know it more than me. This is what happens in boxing.
Show business, absolutely.
But if Ben wins this time around, you know what's happening. There we are for the trilogy.
You can choreograph another one so that we can all sit there and get rinse some more money out of it.
That's boxing.
I think there's better things to be doing than watching Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank. I think there are more meaningful fights that both of them could have had with more substance. I don't begrudge them earning money. If people are foolish enough to want to put this kind of money in these two fighters' hands, I know they turn around and say, "Oh, it was a wonderful fight. It was a wonderful fight. They left everything in the ring." So they should. I've seen just as good a fights in Witherspoons. So with due respect to the boxing profession,
nonsense.
I think it's.
You weren't there first time around. It was brilliant.
I watched it on the Sunday morning. I don't deny the spectacle. I don't deny the noise and the show business element of it. I don't deny Chris Eubank's innate ability to be able to be so charismatic in press conferences. He's overreached this time with his nonsense. But the fact is that I don't appreciate it. I don't value it as a fight. I don't value the circus around it. I don't buy into the nostalgia crap. I don't. And people can say I'm mean-spirited. I just have a different view of it. And so that means that everyone that goes to enjoy it, worry about your enjoyment. Don't worry about my lack of enjoyment.
You're clinging to this view. One man's view. I mean, are you more against it this time than you were the first time around?
I think a lot of people are not particularly enamoured by it. Ask Frank Watton what he thinks of it. People might say because he ain't got any skin in the game and ain't making any money out of it.
Yeah.
But the fact is the man